I think it was 4 a.m. when the pager went off. Sun Valley was on fire.
This is an evacuation notice for Blaine County.
There were 9 starts that day in the summer of 2007, all igniting at different locations. August 19th, if my memory serves. We were up against single-digit humidity, fierce wind, and soaring temperatures. We threw everything we had at these fires. And while we managed to get most of it under control, Castle Rock was the one that got away. I remember Baldy looking like an erupting volcano, black smoke pouring into the sky. It was a sight the townsfolk of Ketchum and Haley would not soon forget.
Mandatory evacuation for Blaine County.
But it wasn't until 6 years later, when the far more destructive Beaver Creek blaze descended on us, that we fully realized Castle Rock's charred legacy. That wildfire 6 years earlier had left a safeguard around Sun Valley. That's the thing about fire, like weather, it just is. People like Joe realized that. A career spent in the central Idaho backcountry, he'd had to learn to live with this lingering threat to his livelihood.
You know, Beaver Creek, once again, kind of like Castle Rock, it was a lightning strike that was, way off in the Idaho backcountry, seemed like a long ways away. And I remember making the comment, that, at least we had Castle Rock, that's gonna save us, right? It can't come this way. My name's Joe St. Onge, and I am the owner and chief of guiding operations for Sun Valley Trekking.
Burning hotter and faster than Castle Rock, Beaver Creek quickly escalated to become the worst fire in central Idaho's recent history. Ketchum and Haley were again on evacuation alert, yet for all its destruction, Castle Rock had left these towns a gift. Hundreds of acres of burned trees that acted as a natural fire barrier.
The Castle Rock fire burned really close to town, kind of picture it like an egg like this. And then the Beaver Creek fire ringed all the way around it like this. You kind of see that burnt peak off in the distance there. Castle Rock started right below that and then blew that way. Give us an orientation, where we're heading to is Coyote Yurt is just over the horizon line out this ridge. Both the fires push that direction.
Wind, heat, and tinder dry conditions, the Beaver Creek hit the Castle Rock firewall like water against stone. But it soon found another route, heading north towards Baker Creek and Joe's backcountry shelter, the Coyote Yurt. While the yurt perished, the natural thinning of the forest actually opened up and enhanced outdoor recreation in the area.
with the fires coming through here, burning all the North Forest, is what it's done is it's opened them up. It's created ski terrain in what wasn't really good ski terrain before. And, you know, because microclimate plays such a role here, it's like we find the best snow on those norths, right? From a skier's perspective, look at all that, you know, it's pretty endless. And this is just a very small piece of it.
With a fire of this size, there are inevitable impacts to the landscape and ecology. It can seem destructive at first, but the land has evolved with fire. It changes the habitat, it doesn't destroy it. Henry Adams said, "Chaos was the law of nature, order was the dream of man." Wildfires are a direct assault on the order we desire as humans.
Basically, it came from the west, so it came along that ridge line. It came up over those peaks off in the distance there and raged right along this ridge line. And the Coyote Yurt sits right over there on a little sub-ridge. It's a little hard to pick out, but we can see it if you look closely. So Castle Rock, Beaver Creek coming together pretty much right by the Coyote Yurt. This is the old yurts right there. That's what's left. So you can kind of see how hot it burnt, right? You know, picture something like this, you know, and that's all that's left. And everything else was dust.
While Sun Valley was saved, Joe's original yurt did not survive the diverted path of the Beaver Creek fire. But the beauty of the Smoky Mountains remains, and for Joe, it was never a question of rebuilding or not, but only a question of where.
You know, this tree, the grandfather tree, it's right out there. That's why we rebuilt here. It was kind of like a speck of hope. When I looked at the old yurts, you know, pretty gutting to see what had happened. It was just like, we can't rebuild here. You know, it's a big ash pile. You know, people won't want to come here. And then turned around and looked out there. I was like, you know, the point is still the point. And as you guys know, stepping out there, it's a pretty magical place. We're fortunate here that we have a bunch of huts, you know, that include the 6 that we run and one other one, you know, by Sawtooth Mountain Guides that all, you know, cater to backcountry skiers, and it's a long tradition that's important for who we are as a community.
Global weather changes have forced us all to adapt, evolve, and endure in order to preserve our environment and our way of life. With the grit and determination of stewards like Joe, and communities like Ketchum and Haley learning to live near wildfires rather than attempting to eradicate them, the skiing in central Idaho seems to be in good hands.
I mean, obviously when they're happening, it's shocking and it feels pretty gutting to see places that you know and that you love go up in smoke, quite literally. You know, when that happens, that can be hard to see and hard to experience. But, you know, you ask about then and now, it's like that's life, right? You know, and that's a cycle.